Hello and welcome to I Am Geek. This is episode 46 and I am Ryan Street. And again, I'm joined by my brother Chris Street and our good friend Chris Catron. And today, we have a very special day. We have a guest on the show today that is unlike any other guest that we've had on the show before. Because we've never met this host, usually, or this guest. Usually one of us says, hey, I got this friend I want to bring on the show. This one is come to us from one of our good friends, Josh Shelton from college, and he said, "Hey, I got this guy you need to talk to." So we got him here. It's the first for the show. This is James Nguyen. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. Hey, James, how you doing?
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hello.
They're all saying hello back right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, everybody who's listening saying hello back. Hello.
Now, you may be wondering why we had James on tonight. Well, James is a comic book artist. He has his own comic book out now. He's raising funds for it on Kickstarter, and so it's going to be a little different take. We've had some animators on that do movies and TV and games and stuff, but this is the old school. This is going back. The ink and the paper.
All the way back to Egypt.
There's a digital that goes with it too. So
cool.
A lot of the new guys do it digital. I do pencil and ink, but I scan it in and all that stuff, digital colors and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Well,
very cool.
Well, why don't we just sort of an intro? Why don't you give us a sort of how you got into this? What is it? Why it became your passion, and then we'll go from there and see what happens.
Sure. So, I mean, I've been drawing all my life. It's one of those stories where you draw. You get exposed to cartoons and comic books early on. 5 years old, you're drawing, and that's all you can remember. And then about ninth grade, I think, is when I went from, hey, I like drawing everything to I really like drawing superheroes. And that's when Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Image Guys, all that kind of stuff, X-Men and Spider-Man. So that's what really sparked the interest in the drawing and catapulted the, hey, I could do this for a living, because I found out that guys do this for a living, and it sounded exciting. So that was the dream. And that's where I am. I followed the dream for a long time. Didn't lead to where I wanted it to lead, but as an artist, as a creator, you just can't not create. I think. I think any creator will tell you that it just kind of boils up out of you, and no matter how hard you push it down, you just have to create. So. This is a passion of mine that is a part-time thing. It's kind of a hobby, but it really, it's fun, and I get a fairly good reaction out of it. So it just kind of feeds the beast. You kind of just continue because people say, "Hey, you got the stuff," and you want to believe them, and it's fun. So. So if you can't draw for Marvel or DC or whatever, you just kind of create your own thing, and you hope that it catches. And a lot of times it does. You see Walking Dead and all these image things that turn into movies and TV shows and things that aren't Marvel or DC. And you just keep that line in the water, and hope you catch that fish that everybody. The $1 million fish.
Yeah.
So
a lot of times, I mean, that's some of the better stuff. Really, is some of the stuff like Walking Dead's a great example. That it's just it really relies on story. I mean, the art's great, but I mean, they have a great idea, and it's something that's new and different, and it's really cool. But yeah, I remember talking about like. You growing up with Todd McFarlane and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, that's when I really started getting into stuff too. But I think the comic, I remember, like we would get like the Disney comics and stuff as kids and things like that, like Donald Duck and his nephews and Scrooge and all that stuff. But I think what really started piquing my interest was when they did the Death in the Family, the DC comics where they killed Robin. It was the second Robin, Jason Todd, and they did a because that was about the time our aunt Reba took us to an actual comic book store. They're like, oh, look at the comics and everything, and the guy, it was Mountain Empire Comics, and the guy there was like, oh, what's some of your favorite characters? I was like, oh, I really like Robin. He was like, oh, well, you know, they're planning on killing him.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? Like when you first find comics. When I found comics, it was in what were those bookstores that aren't even around anymore? But it was like a newsstand kind of bookstore.
Yeah. And
they were on the racks. And that's where I bought my Spider-Man #1 from Todd McFarlane. And then I was collecting those. And then I found Jim Lee, X-Men 268. I don't know if you guys are that into comics, but 268 has the Black Widow and Wolverine and Captain America on the front.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one's nice.
That was it for me. You know, like Todd McFarlane was doing Spider-Man stuff, and it wasn't coming out fast enough. You know, once a month wasn't fast enough for me. You know, so yeah. I was going there every week, and I go, hey, who's this Jim Lee guy? And that's the one that kind of hooked me on. You know, it was so awesome. It was so, I don't know. Jim Lee has this style that you know, you think you can. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like Todd McFarlane was like so far out there. Like, you know, I just like looking at it. I can't ever do it. But Jim Lee was like, hey, this looks awesome, and it just looks like I maybe I can do it.
Well, it's a universal kind of style that he has.
It is.
This really nice.
Yep. So that's what like from what you were saying, where somebody takes you to a comic book store. I remember discovering my first comic book store, and you walk in and it's just comics, and you're like, what's going on here? You know,
like, you guys have the best job ever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but I had the first one I found was there was a cranky guy behind the counter, and he was terrible. You know, and X-Men #1 came out, and Jim Lee's X-Men came out, and it had 5 covers or something like that, 4 or 5 covers. And I went in and I pulled out, you know, one of each, and I went to the counter, and the guy goes, nope, you can only have one. I was like, what are you talking about? There's 5 covers. I want them all. And he says, nope, you only have one. It's like, I got to find another place. So I found another place.
No, I had a little different. Yeah, Mountain Empire Comics in Johnson City. Shout out to them. Where I'd go all the time. And,
this episode is sponsored by
Mountain Empire Comics. And yeah, the people there, like they were so good, and like they would hold back comics for me like every Wednesday, and like I'd have a pile that I could go through, and I couldn't get them all every week so my pile kept building, and I kept trying to whittle away at it. But yeah, it was really great. I do mostly digital comics now, just because space.
Yeah, sure. Hey, I get it. I mean, it's faster, and it's there's a lot of advantages to the technology that's going on today. It looks a lot better. I mean, I don't know. I still have I still like the look of the old stuff, but at the same time, I can appreciate how much. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You know, I love the new stuff too. So
yeah. Oh no, it's always nice the smell of a new comic. And everything.
I wish they'd do it on newsprint again. You know, when Image came along, they did the slicker paper, and it's just not the same as it was. I mean, it was good. It was fresh. It was new, and it was very appealing. But there's a little bit. You know, I thumbed through my old X-Men comics, and it's newsprint, and there's a little bit of nostalgia to it that I wish we could get back.
That'd be nice.
And that would make it cheaper too.
Yeah, they're always fun with Silly Putty.
Always fun with Silly Putty.
You're messing with the value.
That's me. So I did a little research. You sent me some stuff on you. So not only have you have original stuff, but you did some stories for some other comic books, correct?
I sure did. Yep, I sure did. So like when you're trying to break into Marvel and DC, you try to follow all the advice that everybody gives you. And I had a friend who said, you got to network. So he said, I go to these comic book shows and I set up a table and I sell my artwork and I meet all kinds of people and I network with people. And this was like in the late 90s, early 2000s. So he said, you got to come to Pittsburgh and set up a table. So we rent this like a 6-foot table, like half of a 6-foot table, and it cost like $100 or something. And 3 of us jam into this 3-foot space, and we just put out our artwork and try to sell it. And I had a print of Spider-Man and a print of something else, but they sold like hotcakes, and I was like, man, this is the way to do it. And then they had parties up in the penthouse of the convention, and that's where I met like Michael Turner. I met I ran into Joe Quesada. I said hi to him, but it was before he became the editor-in-chief at Marvel and things like that. Brian Michael Bendis, I met him like before he became the writer for Marvel. So I met these really cool guys, and just Dark Horse was big back then, and I just that was the way to go, and that's how I thought I was gonna make it big. But and it was fine. I had fun. I made connections, but life kind of takes you in a different direction, and you can't put as much time into it as you wish you did. So you gotta make some sacrifices, and the sacrifice was, you can't put your eggs in this one dream. You kind of have to start the family. You get married. You start the family. Family and marriage is more important than the dream. So, but I'm back at the dream. I have my family. I mean, I have my wife. I have my family. I have my job. But the dream is still back there. Kind of creeping out. You can't suppress them forever. Yeah. So it's fun. I don't think I'm going to make $1 million. I'm not going to change careers, anytime soon. But that's what this is all about. You can't stop creating, and you just hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think we all 3 of us, well, 4 of us, including you, have those things in our life that we have passions about, and you got to keep going in some form or another. Because I know, like, that was one of the reasons why we started this podcast, because I was like, I've got to do, because I was basically a musician for my adult life, and then that job ended. As a worship pastor, it sort of ended, and I became the stay-at-home dad. And I was like, I got to do something creatively, and we started this podcast, and it's been great. It's growing. I never thought that people from the other side of the world would be listening to me talk, but they did for some reason. I don't know, but let's get into
how far is your reach? I'd love to hear how far.
With Japan. Australia. Where else did New Zealand? Canada. I think. Canada. Canada. I think we had something in South Africa.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's all. It was really weird, when I realized on Instagram that I have like, I don't know, 10 or 20 fans from Russia. I was like, Russian people like my artwork? It's kind of weird. And they comment in Russian, and I'm like, man, that's kind of weird.
I got to follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you're to look at the top countries of our listens, of course, United States is top, but the next is Japan with 149 listens.
Yeah.
And then France with 27. In Canada,
Rock on.
15. United Kingdom, 15. And
So Japan
Spain,
beats
India.
the Canada and
Yeah.
closer people.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa or whatever.
That's cool.
I don't know
Yeah.
Japanese. I'm sorry. all our Japanese listeners have just tuned out now.
But it's
That's because you're an animation guy, Chris. That's that draws them in.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing how just putting out. We just put out a little podcast, and it's people from all over the globe, and we love every one of them, and we're glad they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
We hope
That's
they keep
fantastic.
listening. But let's dive into your comics, because that's why we're here. That's what we want to hear about. Before we dive into Alpha Red, can you remember the first original character that you came up with?
Oh boy, you don't even want to know.
Oh no, we want to know.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh boy, like I guess the first one that I mean, they're obviously when you're drawing as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, you're making up some crazy stuff. But really, the first one that I made a comic book about was the character's name was Jonas, and it was really influenced by Joe Madureira and his Battle Chasers comic, and it was a fantasy kind of I don't know, the backdrop. It's not set in the real world, but it was kind of a mixture of fantasy and Bruce Lee's whatever that first movie was, Fist of Fury, I want to say. But I grew up as a Bruce Lee fan, and so I kind of combined the two. But it's out there in the world. It's called the character's name was Jonas, but it was part of an anthology called Realms. So I still have probably 600 copies sitting in my basement somewhere.
Oh wow!
But it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Don't look for it. Don't look for it. But yeah, Jonas was just like an angry guy that could fight, and gets himself into trouble and because of his temper, and just like Bruce Lee in the movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like growing up liking comics and everything. I always tried to draw comics. I'm an okay artist, but not like you. You're awesome. But no, take the comic.
Take it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, and I would try and come up with characters and stuff. And I did drama in high school, and I would just like doodle stuff. And I think I made like a drama superhero, and he had the
what?
he had a mask on, and he had, because the drama mask, there's like happy and sad or whatever, and he had a sword that had the happy face on it, and a shield that had the sad face, and he had a little sidekick called Mime Bot. So yeah, don't feel bad about your stuff.
Did I ever see any of this?
I don't think you saw any of that.
Oh.
That's my personal collection.
That stuff I don't even talk about. The personal, the super personal stuff.
No, I'm pretty great myself, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I did a comic strip once. Remember?
You did. What was it?
It was. I still have it somewhere. It was these two guys, like cowboy-like guys, and there was a bull, and that was the three characters.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but like last week we talked about my art career and how that went in high school with the weird art teacher,
with the football coach.
Yeah, Coach Smuckler. I used to draw. I mean, I used to love to draw, and I did get one of my pictures put up at Mountain Empire Comics. They put it up on the wall.
Venom.
It was Venom. I still have it here somewhere. I could probably get it, but
very nice.
Maybe I'll get it out here in a second. Anyways, so let's. How did Alpha Red come to be in your mind? Like, how did it all start?
Oh man, Alpha Red. Alpha Red's the journey of Alpha Red started, I guess. All right, we'll just start at the beginning, because it's been a while. As a person who does it part time, just kind of does it on the side. You come up with the idea, but Alpha Red was a little different. I have other comics like there was Inhabit that I worked with somebody, and then I started at Wingman. But when Alpha Red came about, it was I did Fubar with a guy named Mike Imboden, and we had a story. It was Fubar is a comic. You can look it up. Fubar #1 was a zombie anthology. It was World War II zombie anthology, black and white. It was really fun to do.
Cool.
And Mike and Bowden wrote it, 8 pages, and I drew it. And when I met him, he wrote a lot of superhero stuff. And I said, I like superhero stuff. I don't like drawing World War II zombies. Let's do this instead. So we worked up Alpha Red, and it was just really just a Captain America story. Some guy gets superpowers, gets really strong, patriotic, saves America from bad guys, taking over the government or whatever. But really, it became a more of a Christian-based comic because of something a friend of mine said. And he said, hey, you're going to be working on this. You're going to spend a lot of time drawing this. Does it honor your faith? And I said, no, it's just a fun thing. And so it turned from something that was just whatever to, so I approached Mike and I said, hey, I want to make it more of a Christian-based thing. And he was like, nah, I'm not into it. So I said, all right, so can I have the character? And he's like, yeah, whatever. So I took the character and I made it into more of a Christian story, a Christian-based superhero. And that's where it is, I changed the storyline a little bit and used the same artwork that Mike wrote, but just kind of reoriented it to align with my faith. And so that turns some people off, but it works for other people. So it's good. I don't have any regrets. But I became the writer and the artist. And so not only are you the creative person, but you're the marketing person. You're you have to do it all. When you're kind of out there doing an indie book, you have to shout the loudest about your project and whatnot. So that's that's kind of how Alpha Red turned from just your normal superhero from a Captain America type of person. It's still the same character because it's still, that's the superhero behind it. It's really Captain America mashed with Spider-Man is how I think of his personality. He's kind of new at being a superhero, but he's got all these powers and he's got just a Boy Scout kind of morals. But as far as his looks, when Mike and I were talking about what the character looked like, I kind of mashed up some of my favorite superheroes. I mashed up Deadpool. Deadpool was one of my favorite superheroes. Nice. So the color scheme is Deadpool, red and black. And then I mashed him with the Jim Lee era Cyclops.
Nice.
So with the hair and the goggles, yeah, that's the look of him. Just kind of mash those up, and then the personality being Captain America and Spider-Man. So cool. That's the gist of the creative, the look of him, and then the
I really like
the feel of him.
I really like the little backpack on his, like, I guess.
Yeah. So the backpack is like a battery.
For the suit, right?
For the suit. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So you learn about why he needs the battery, and then by the end of it, he doesn't need the battery because he's got.
Oh, okay. So, because I read the first one, Chris, you read the first one too.
Yeah, I read the first
one.
So
they're talking about in there about how is he ready? Does he believe? Well, he'll just have to use the suit for now. So that's what you mean by the battery. So basically, to start out, he needs the battery for the suit because he doesn't have the right mindset or the right belief.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So he doesn't have any spiritual strength.
Gotcha.
So he's going by the EOS, which is the essence of the spirit. So it's just like pretend faith, like a lot of people, like a lot of Christians are, they're kind of going by their what they were taught.
Yeah, sort of the surface level, which makes it cool because the backpack's on his outside, so it's like the surface level faith. And then when he gets the real deep rooted faith, then he doesn't need the surface level faith anymore. That's pretty cool.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. So in the next issue, by the end of it, he doesn't need the backpack. Something happens to the backpack, things happen, and then he has to rely on his real, the real strength. And
yeah, I like the first episode. I like the premise a lot. The writing style and everything kind of reminds me a little bit of Frank Peretti. If you've read any of his stuff, he's a Christian novelist.
It doesn't. I don't read.
That's fine. Sorry. I read some.
His
books
is like Frank Peretti's like
you're like my kids.
Stuff.
They like to read.
But
I don't.
You should look him up sometime. I think you'd enjoy some of his stories. But it's
it's like crazy.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
It's like a secret war. But some of his books are like a secret war between angels and demons.
Okay.
Type thing.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me a little bit of that with a different take, which is cool.
Sure.
And the writing style and everything just kind of, I think you would enjoy it if you.
So Frank Peretti.
Yeah.
Frank.
This Present Darkness,
write that down.
I think, is one of his books.
Yeah, I think so.
This Present Darkness is one you can look up.
What's the name?
This Present Darkness? I think so. I think that's what it is. I think that's when I remember starting to read, and then it was like, oh, there's creepy stuff going on around me now. Okay, I'm not finished this one right now. And then I never went back to it. So in Alpha Red is basically tasked with finding the devil, pretty much. The devil is on Earth.
So I think the thing that most people and like when I pitch it, I got this little short pitch when I go to conventions, and they say, yeah, tell me a little bit about Alpha Red. And so I usually start with the devil thing because they're like, oh. So the devil has been trapped by his right hand demon, which is like his right hand man. He was tricked by his right hand man, and his soul was cast into a mortal, a human, and then the human. Then his right hand demon, Ashby, makes the body immortal. So just think of Wolverine without any power. So you're just like a human that can't die, like Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day. So you're powerless, and you just keep living. You try to kill yourself, and nothing happens. But after 40 years, the devil has figured out how to manipulate things that so that he can destroy the world, because he thinks that is the only way that he can escape his predicament.
That's really cool.
So in the story, he's a couple of days away. By issue 3, he's just a couple of days away from the devil is a couple of days away from the plan happening, destroying the world. And here's Alpha Red. A month into into having his powers, trying to figure out, whether he even believes that this is happening, and what's his part in it. And he's got he's super strong, super fast, super smart. He can figure stuff out, and what can he do about stuff?
That's cool.
That's
also
cool.
like the chip thing in the brain.
Yeah.
That kind of relays information.
Yeah. So.
Which is kind of cool. I think you can go a lot of ways with that, which is nice.
Yeah. So that's like I get the idea from I don't have any original ideas. So I was thinking like the Matrix, like you can upload. That's part of my pitch too. When people say, well, what does Alpha Red do? I said, he's super strong, super fast because of this chip that's implanted in his head, and you can download information into his head. So not only does it, that's what makes him super smart, is because you can download all the information in the world into his head. So
we're all going
Matrix style.
See, this is the cool thing, because I was a pastor, a student pastor, a worship pastor for 16 years, and knew from high school that's what I was going to do. So I'm just thinking about all this stuff, since going to seminary and all the biblical knowledge, you could do this and you could do that, and that would be cool.
Yeah.
And it's just because I'll just keep my mouth shut, because I'm like, this would be a cool storyline. And plus, especially with the chip, because if the chip got, I'm just going to start spouting this stuff out now. You can take whatever you want.
Yeah.
If the chip got if the devil character.
I've got two more issues to kind of finish it up. You can put the icing on the cake
if the devil
add stuff.
If the devil figures out that the Alpha Red has got this chip, he could totally turn it into the mark of the beast. And, it'd be so cool.
Oh man,
flip him.
That's not where I was going with it, but man, that sounds good. Yeah.
see, me being just the weirdo, I was like, he can send spam into his head.
He can flip
That's the devil. That's the devil.
He could flip it and then he could start making his own, and planning and making soldiers. Oh, see, this is cool.
And again, I'm just buy 2 pairs of pants for one.
Yeah, you could have your own crazy Infinity War type thing going on here.
Well, being the writer and the artist, you got your limits, and so the story is not as big as I can imagine a bigger story, but as an artist who is limited by time and those kind of things, and time and skill. I limit myself to the story that I can draw. Yeah, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
No,
I just was excited, really.
It's going to kick butt. The next issue is going to kick butt. I mean, I have the issue 4 and 5 laid out. This Kickstarter is for issue number 3, which is already drawn and already lettered. It just needs colored. But number 4 and 5 are where the action and kind of the resolution, all the the climax of the story, and the devil is revealed, the human Satan is revealed, where he's been for the 40 years, that kind of thing. All that comes to a head, and then there's big battles. There's big giant robots. There's all kinds of things. There's a big teleporting thing, and cool stuff. Stuff that I've always wanted to draw, and that I liked in comic books and cartoons, and Transformers, fast cars, G.I. Joe, Transformers. That was my thing.
Oh yeah, we grew up on that.
Oh yeah, I still have all my old G.I. Joes, even though they're in pieces because their rubber insides heated up over time and melted.
Did you ever take them apart? I remember when I was it was a big thing. What was it? In Christmas, when there would be an opportunity for kids to go get Christmas gifts. What was it? Santa's Secret Shop or something like that, and you could get cheap gifts. Oh. And one of the gifts was a little handy like screws and screwdrivers, teeny tiny screwdrivers and screws, but they would be perfect for GI Joes, and I would always buy them every year. This like 3-piece set of screwdrivers, and I would unscrew the backs, and then you could like change their clothes. You could change their arms. You could change their legs. You know, Snake Eyes would be wearing Duke's stuff. You know,
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I want to fix mine someday. I got to take them all apart and see if I can switch out the little, because they're all held
Rubber
together
band.
by rubber bands, and
sure.
It just gets old. Yeah.
yeah, I still have
You
the aircraft carrier, the GI Joe aircraft carrier.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah. Huge.
6 feet long. The bad boy.
That's 6 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild.
That's a commitment right there.
One day my son is gonna love me to death. He's gonna be like, what? I'll just keep bringing out all my old toys.
Like, too bad you can't get them anymore.
Yeah, I can't get this anymore. It's vintage.
What about He-Man? You guys were into He-Man? Were you guys into
yeah.
He-Man?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And for the longest, because I was really young, I was born in '81. I think it was around the height of He-Man when I was really getting to know it, but I couldn't say the letter H. So I would call him P-Man.
No.
Yeah. I didn't know any better.
I still have I have a couple of He-Man figures. Most of mine got gone in a garage sale or something I found out later, but I had all the castles, so Castle Grayskull. No, I don't know. Did I have Skeletors? But I had what was the guy Horde? So that came later.
Hordak?
Yeah,
Hordak,
so he was
yeah.
like the middle one. Both guys didn't, both sides didn't like him. He's the middle guy. But anyway, I have Ram Man. I don't know if you remember him. I think that's
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
he had the little spring-loaded thing where he pops up. I still have him, and I have a He-Man. And the weird thing about all my He-Man figures is that all the hands are mangled because I would chew on the fingers. I would just bite on them for
The
whatever.
toys had good hands. They were like they weren't like just fists. Yeah. They were like separated. Yeah.
Yeah, but He-Man was my favorite.
Yeah, I can't remember if I have those or you have those, Ryan.
I think you have all the He-Man.
I may have all the He-Man.
I-
And then I got when they redid the series on Cartoon Network. I love the designs for that, and I bought a bunch of toys of that. They're just really cool and stylistic. It was just awesome.
I like the looks of those, but I never saw any in the cartoons.
It was actually pretty good.
I can't say. Was it?
Yeah, if you like Voltron now, which we kind of talked a little bit about before the podcast, I think you would like the redone He-Man show. It just didn't quite catch on, but it had a lot of fun kind of callbacks to the old series.
Yeah,
a lot of characters and stuff. It was cool. I liked it.
That's how you got to do it. If you're going to bring back the old stuff, that's why I think I like Voltron.
Oh yeah,
They bring back a lot of the old concepts and the things, but they revamp them and then like animate them. I don't know.
Animated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, it's good. I like it. Good show. So, do you want to talk a little bit about the Kickstarter itself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So what I'm looking for is $3,500 and it really is just to color it and to fulfill the rewards. So Ross Hughes is the colorist, and he does stuff for DC. He's a professional comic book colorist, and he does such phenomenal work and worth every penny. And so really that's all that is required to complete the project of issue number 3. So this will be the third of 5 issues that I have planned for Alpha Red, and it takes about a year to do each comic, and it sounds like a long time, but when you're the artist, writer, everything, things take a while. I mean, the Kickstarter takes about a month to plan, then a month to to kind of run, and then it'll take a month or two after that to kind of get all the rewards out the door. So it's a lot of work. But yeah, the support I'm looking for is just some monetary, just funding to pay off him and Josh. Josh Shelton. I actually there were people. This is the second run at the Alpha Red #3 funding to complete it. The first time around was unsuccessful, but there were people who reached out to me and said, "Hey, we really want to help you move it forward," and they contributed, and I gave them some rewards for it, and I was able to pay Josh, and I was able to pay Ross to kind of color some of the pictures that are offered, the pinups and stuff.
Nice.
So it moved forward a little bit, but really, I mean, it's complete. I'd love to see it in color. What's awesome about Alpha Red, the first two, were fully funded by fans and family and supporters. And I don't have the money. I've got 3 kids. I've got a wife, 3 kids, a big house. So this hobby has to pay for itself.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully, I have not had to really put out any money on my own to have this two fully colored comic books, fully lettered by other people, because that's not my strength either.
Right.
To have the comic book lettered. But
now, when you say for those that don't know, when you say lettering, basically they put in the words, or I don't.
They put in the words. That's
Okay.
Josh's part. It sounds like a simple thing. Like what, he's just typing letters in word balloons. That's it. But there's a skill to it that is noticeable. It's part of the package when you look at it. If people aren't doing it right, like I've done it before, and people don't say it, but they look at it and they go, "Oh, this is an indie book." Whereas if Josh does it and Ross colors it, it looks like something that you would pick up from Image or Marvel or DC. It just looks like a more polished product, and that's what I'm going for. And
Cool.
I want to be able to, at the end of issue #5, go to an Image, go to a publisher and say, "Hey, look, it's all complete. I just need distribution."
Wow.
And that's the plan.
Very cool.
So when you say coloring, is that digital or is that hand coloring? What's
Yeah, it's digital. I mean, that's kind of how it's done these days.
Cool.
There are comics that are done by hand, but it's not like it was before. When I found Jim Lee, I mean that it was all colored by hand. It was all dyes and watercolor and stuff like that. But once Photoshop kind of hit, when image hit, they started using Photoshop, and it was a game changer. And people saw colors like comics and comic coloring, like it had never been done like that before. So and they keep making it better and better, where it looks more and more realistic, and it adds so much to the line work.
Oh, great! Yeah.
So you draw, because I don't know anything. So you draw it by hand, then you scan it in.
I do. So
then he colors.
So usually, yep. So typically, like Jim Lee is typically just a penciler. I don't know if you guys are guys familiar with Jim Lee?
Oh yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. So he's a really famous penciler. He kind of changed the game back in the early '90s, along with a bunch of other guys. But really, their part was just the pencils. They draw everything in pencil, and then they give it to a guy who inks it, and that's a different skill. And then at first with Jim Lee, and then his inker, his go-to inker was Scott Williams, and they would take that black and white line work and ink and give it to whoever it was at the time. I can't remember his name, but he would use dyes. They would photocopy it, and the original artwork is still in black and white, but they would make copies of it, and the colorist would come in and color it by hand using dyes and watercolor, and that's what was I don't know what the process was, but that's what you saw was with their hand painted, hand colored artwork. But then when Image came along, Photoshop was, the digital coloring was the next level stuff, and so everybody started just scanning in the black and white inked stuff, not the penciled stuff. Even though now they can color just from the pencils and skip, they're skipping the inking phase of the comic book. But early on, they would just go straight to the inks. I mean, they would scan in the inks, and then the colorist would then color digitally the black and white inked artwork. So,
very
so
interesting.
I pencil it and I ink it, and then I scan it, and then I send it off to Ross, and Ross does his magic, and it makes it look very, very smooth and beautiful.
He does a lovely job. I think I've seen some of his work. I looked him up real quick.
Yeah, no, he is. He's legit. He does DC comics and
Harley Quinn stuff. That's cool.
Yep. Superman and Harley Quinn.
Very cool.
You also did cards for Upper Deck, didn't you?
I did. I mean, that's cool. Really. So my professional stuff goes as published stuff. That's what kind of people kind of count. Fubar was one. Fubar #1 was one of the things that were published by Alternate Comics. And that was, that #2 went like New York Times bestseller comic. I was only part of #1, but
Shucks.
I can't claim the New York Times bestseller credit, but it was legit. I did #1 for that anthology, and then the second one was Atomic Robo.
I think I've heard that. Yeah, I've seen some of that.
Yep.
Nice.
I thought for sure Atomic Robo was just going to blow up because it was just such an awesome comic book. And I thought they were going to animate it, and I thought it was going to be the next big thing. But it just kind of hovers at like fans really love it, but it doesn't seem to kind of break out into any kind of mainstream thing. But I got to do a short story in Atomic Robo, but the sketch cards are kind of were just kind of a neat thing that I get to work on Marvel properties for a legit Upper Deck thing, and but yeah, that I did a set in 2008 or 2009, and then I did a set last year.
Very cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you check out my Instagram or my Facebook, that's you'll see.
What's your
What's your
Instagram?
Bunches. Yeah. JamesQ Artist, I believe. At JamesQ Artist. Q is my middle initial, so
It's like the
It's
James
a lot.
Bond guy.
it's just easier than just putting James Nguyen, and people are like, James NG, what?
There you
It's
are.
not there.
There you are.
Officially been followed by I Am Geek.
Followed, awesome.
And me too, personally.
I'm there then. I made it.
You made it.
Made it.
Oh, these
You
are
can
cool.
quit.
Congratulations.
You're at your high. You reached the high point.
Oh, so I see that you did a Luke Skywalker. Is that? Oh.
Oh yeah. As an artist, you're just trying to pimp your stuff. You're just trying to do what you like, but at the same time do what you think other people would enjoy. So Star Wars was coming out, so it was just a fun thing to do.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
what'd you think of The Last Jedi?
You know,
Oh no!
I know people hate it, but when I watched it, I enjoyed it. There were a lot of things that were, that are wanting, but overall, I don't get out to the movies much. So I watched it as just as somebody enjoying a night out.
Yeah.
But I actually was able to enjoy it. And then everybody's like, "What? You liked it?" Even with the milking of the weird thing in my head is Luke milking the whatever that thing was.
Oh yeah, you get that out of your head.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on there?" But I did enjoy it. I'll catch flack for it, I'm sure. But
we'll let it pass.
We all loved it here.
Go back and listen to the Last Jedi Roundtable, and you'll see what we thought about it.
What episode was that?
That
With,
is episode.
It was episode
36.
36. Yeah. Oh, wow.
36. All right, I'll have to go back and look. I know it didn't get a lot of good stuff, but good.
I won't start my rant on it again. I'm a big Star Wars. I know you can see behind me if you're looking at me. I even have a Last Jedi poster up. I need to find something to replace it with. But I just love that art. I just love the art of that poster. And then like the shelf in front of me that you can't see is just it's like a big IKEA shelf that takes up like the whole wall, and it's all Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars geek. So Chris
Classic
was
stuff. What about the 1, 2, and 3 episodes? 1, 2, and 3.
I even liked 1, 2, and 3. I mean, I liked it. I know that it gets a lot of flack, but I mean, they were fun, and I remember, when the first episode 1 came out. And it was just like, it's back. It's back. And I remember going to see it in some little theater.
You forgave everything, didn't you? You forgave everything because you wanted so much. You wanted it to be so good.
Yeah. I
want it to be good.
I mean, 4, 5, and 6 will always be the best. There's nothing that's going to top those, in my opinion. But 1, 2, and 3 wasn't bad. Now, I need to watch Last Jedi again, but I like 1, 2, and 3 better than I did The Last Jedi. If that's telling you anything. And then I liked Force Awakens a lot, and I loved Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One was
amazing.
Such a surprising. I loved it. I loved it.
And then I'm excited about the Solo movie coming out. So
are you?
Oh yeah.
I heard that. I hear a lot of flack about the trailer. It's a little campy.
I'm excited about it. I'm not gonna diss it until I see it.
What about the poster controversy?
Oh, that's ridiculous.
See the poster?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Was that? So what is that? Plagiarism or not?
To me, okay. For those of you who haven't seen it, basically there's 5 or 6 posters for Solo that has all the different characters. Each one gets their own poster, and it's a direct ripoff of like an old Sony album covers or something like that is different genres that they put out a collection. But if you put them side by side, they look exactly the same, except one of them has Star Wars characters and one of them has people singing and playing music. And to me, it's like, okay, Disney, do your fact checking. But this isn't the first time they've done this. This is not the first time they do it. But because they're Disney, they get away with it.
Sure.
Actually, The Lion King is a direct ripoff of a cartoon from Africa, I believe, or from somewhere.
White Lion.
The White Lion or something like that. If you put them side by side and watch them side by side, it's the exact same movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd never heard of that.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. It's like totally off subject, but I saw a thing. The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
I saw a thing where someone took scenes from that and matched them directly with Splash.
Splash.
And it actually, I mean, it's scary close in a lot of places. It's just like, wow, really? Okay. I just thought that was funny.
It is kind of crazy. I mean, you can't really create anything new anymore. It doesn't seem.
Yeah, there's a book called "Still Like an Artist," and it's written by a guy that he's basically talking about how, as artists, we basically are constantly stealing stuff from other artists, whether we realize it or not. And so I don't know if Disney, if they're just like, "Hey, that looks cool. Let's use those for our things," or if it was an accident. It didn't look like an accident to me, though.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah, Disney wouldn't do that, Coco. I don't know why they wouldn't do that at all. They wouldn't. I didn't say anything.
If it was the other way around, though, the company would have been sued by Disney.
Absolutely, they'd be bankrupt.
Oh, yeah.
They would be gone, vaporized.
Yeah.
No, but even as a what was I thinking? The way I create stuff, you can't help but be influenced by what you see. I feel like my style is a combination of my favorite artists. I like Jim Lee, I like Joe Madureira, I like Joe Quesada. Those three guys were always my top three. I'd buy whatever they bought, and I mean they whatever they were drawing, I would buy that, and then I would consciously steal like how they did certain things, like how big their hands were, how dramatic their scenes were, not direct poses, not direct there's a lot of aping going on, where you just take the exact same picture and then just redraw it as a different character, and that's not what I would do, but I would dissect what I like about a picture. As an artist, I just dissect what I like about a picture and just absorb it. Like they did that really well. I like that part of their style, and then I'm gonna see if I can recreate that energy, that excitement in my artwork, and ultimately it comes out as something completely different. It's not as obvious as those posters, where it was same color, same, just the same idea, all of it.
Yeah, there's a difference between being influenced by it and basically just ripping it off.
Sure. Sure.
Catron acts like he's going to say something. He starts to talk and it just freezes.
I'm just waiting to make sure I don't butt in. But this is on the same note of things that copy other things. Have you all ever noticed that Army of Darkness and Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, have a lot of similarities?
I don't think I've ever known.
I thought it was. If you watch the big battle scene in Army of Darkness, y'all are familiar with that, right?
Yeah.
And they've got all the skeletons are coming up to whatever it was. It's been so long since I've seen it, but and you think about the Two Towers where they're attacking the Helm's Deep, right? They're coming in. There's a lot of similarities. There's a part where in Army of Darkness where there's a skeleton standing up and he's like, yo, or whatever, and he's making this motion, and there's a part in Two Towers where there's this orc or whatever, he's standing up on a rock, and before I said this, I was looking up online and I put Army of Darkness and Lord of the Rings, and there are a ton of results of people making comparisons saying without Army of Darkness you wouldn't have this movie, or there's some things they took from Army of Darkness. It was interesting. Of course, I think Lord of the Rings was probably written a long time ago, right? But
that scene probably is not.
The movie though is not. Yeah, the movie came out after Army of Darkness.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. You ought to watch it with that lens now, and you'll be like, oh my gosh. And there's a lot of images that people talk about, and that are direct rip-offs too. And people are like, oh, it's a stretch, but it's funny, to think about.
So we're approaching the hour mark, which when we get talking, time flies. But there's a couple things that happened this week that I wanted to just shoot out there. Jon Favreau or however you want to say his name, who's the writer, director, blah blah guy, has been
that guy.
You know that guy. He's done Iron Man. He's done Jungle Book. He's done also. Anyway, Disney has given him his own Star Wars show to write and produce for the new Disney streaming service. Don't know what it's going to be about, but that's coming out. So that should be interesting.
I think it's going to be swingers in space.
Swingers in space. Yeah. That's the new Solo movie. I'm pretty sure that's the premise for the new Solo movie.
You're so money, you don't even let us know it.
Vegas, baby, Vegas. So that's coming out, and that's really that's the thing with a lot of this bringing the old back. It seems like they're bringing the old back, but they're just pounding it into the ground as much as they can and just getting it out there. So I hope that Star Wars doesn't become so oversaturated that it's just like, who cares about Star Wars? But I don't know.
Rebels was good. Rebels ended.
Yeah, Rebels ended. I haven't seen it.
Don't
say anything.
I won't say anything, but it was good. It was good.
Did Jessica Jones season 2 started this week?
Today.
Tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you got to get on that. Got to watch that. One of my favorites of the Marvel shows they've had on Netflix. And then for those that love video games, a new teaser trailer for the new Smash Brothers dropped today for the Nintendo Switch.
Good thing I got the Switch.
Yeah, well,
and not a PlayStation 4.
I'm not going to buy a Nintendo for one game though.
It's gonna be good.
But there's other stuff that happened that this week that we could get into later. Chris and I did. I don't know if Katrin got to watch it yet, but we watched the show on Netflix, and I think we're going to dedicate a whole episode of I Am Geek to because it is so insane and so crazy. Yeah. So go watch it now, and then we'll talk about it later. It's called The Push by Darren Brown. It's on Netflix. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Just go watch it.
Is it La Push?
No, just
The Push. The Push. But anyways, so yeah. It's not French. He's from London or something like that.
It's a reference from the Twilight movie. If you kept, I'm sorry, my wife was huge into Twilight.
I'm sorry.
So I watched it several times.
Le Push. Anyways, The Push. Go check that out, and we will talk about that soon. But next week, we have another guest coming on, hopefully.
Yes.
The creator of Lucas the Spider. You may have seen him on Netflix, or on YouTube. One of his videos alone has 17 million views. Lucas the Spider is going to be live with us next week on I Am Geek. But I'm just putting stuff out. Did you start to say something, Chris? Sorry.
No, you're good.
Anyways, so that's next time. But James, I want to say thank you for coming on, especially such short notice. We just decided today to make this happen, and I guess you're still there. You're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't want to cut you off. I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to kind of bring some attention to the Kickstarter. I have a website that goes right to my Kickstarters, alpharedcomic.com. I just thank you for letting me talk about it, and geeking out with you guys about some of the geek stuff.
I'm on the website right now. You have looks like around $1,400 right now.
Yeah, if it went over $1,400, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's
$1,388.
Oh, on mine it says $1,409.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, all right. Somebody else pledged then. I haven't. You can obsess about Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like every other minute, you refresh. Did anybody pledge? Did anybody pledge? And that's why it feels like it takes a lot of energy. Like the whole month, you're just like, you got to promote. You got to be the microphone. You got the megaphone. Like, please come check it out. It's awesome. Like, I love you. But I mean, and I do. I mean it. I'm very grateful for all the people who it's money. You earn your money, and you're gonna invest in some project that may or may not happen. It's gonna happen. With mine, it's already. It's done. It just needs printed and sent out. But yeah, you're counting on your friends. You're counting on the fans that you've made, the networking that you put in, and then you're hopeful about the people buying into this could be something, something worth the 20-30 minutes it takes you to read your comic, and people are great. A lot of people are just very generous, and I'm grateful.
Cool.
And I'm grateful to you guys for taking, putting me on and letting me talk about Alpha Red.
No, it's great. I mean, I'm excited to see what comes of it. If you have some extra money laying around, which you do somewhere, take your time and get on there and pledge some support. We need more good stories. We need more good stories, not just the rehash of Wolverine dying and then coming back to life. or what have you. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see when the devil finds out about the chip and turns it into the Mark of the Beast.
That is now in issue number 4. That's when that happens now.
Oh man. Anyways, well, thank you again, James, for coming on, and let us know what happens. Keep in contact with us. Let us know what happens.
I really, the way it's been going, it feels like the first time where it was successful. So I'll reach out to you guys and let you know that all is well. It ends on the 26th. March 26th is the last day. 3 p.m. is the last that you can pledge. And there's lots of cool stuff that you can get if you're into original artwork and things like that. But I will definitely reach out to you guys and let you know that it's been successful, and it's all because of I Am Geek. Really stretching it out to Japan.
We've got such reach.
My Japanese pledgers will be coming in. I'll check now because it's open globally, so anybody around the world can pledge and get copies of 1, 2, and 3. Nice. Digital or physical copies.
That's cool. You got T-shirts on there. You've got all kinds of stuff.
I got T-shirts, baby. I know you did. Have you sold any T-shirts yet? Because I was listening to the last week and you haven't sold any T-shirts yet. Maybe I'll buy a T-shirt.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe that'll be one of the rewards for my thing. You can get a I Am Geek T-shirt.
There we go. Monica says she's going to buy one. I haven't seen it yet. But of course, Chris still hasn't bought one. So
I haven't got one. So,
you got to start wearing it. Do you guys do a video podcast?
We do sometimes when we can. The problem is with it, we do it so late at night that
we can still do a video.
Yeah, we can still do a video.
But we've done a couple of live ones, but it's we don't get as many viewers.
Live ones are fun though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
We've got radio faces.
That's right.
We have
Join
all
the
of
club,
them.
brother.
Yeah, we
Join
have
the
them all on video. I just have to find time to actually sit down because it actually takes a lot longer for me to put stuff on YouTube than it does to put stuff on SoundCloud. So I've got to find the time between a screaming toddler and a screaming 6-month-old to get it all on YouTube. We are now on Google Play. So if you use Google Play, you can find us on Google Play, you can find us on iTunes, you can find us on SoundCloud. And as always, you can find us on IamGeekShow.com. But anyways, James, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And until next time, this has been I Am Geek, and we will talk at you next week. See ya. Goodbye.